Yes, hello. I am James Rowlands. Today it's the WNR581. It's WWE Crown Jewel, and I'm alone. A pleasure to be joined by the entire WNR team. Up first by my side for every WWE NAW show is the fantastic Jaxie Scarlett. How's it going, Jaxie?
Hello, welcome back for another one. Yeah, excited to get on with this one. There was a lot that went down at Crown Jewel, and it feels like it happened so long ago. So it's about time we got to talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, we had our AEW catch up last week, so now it's time for the WWE one, I suppose. So it's all
Exactly.
good.
Yep, I'm looking forward to it.
Up next, our resident NXT expert and New Japan demigod and honorary House of Torture member. It is Monty. How's it going, man?
Going great. I got a shout out to my OG, the King of Darkness Evil, who is sponsored by Under Armour in Japan. So shout out to Show too, who's also sponsored by Under Armour Japan. House of Torture got a sponsorship before even the company did a major sponsorship. So we are legit.
Well, yes, that's lovely. I'm glad to have you on board. Last but by no means least, say, hey girl, sitting in your tree. Mummy always wants to come for tea. Don't be shy. Straighten up your tie. Get down for your tree house sitting in the sky. I want to know just what to do. Is it very big? Is there room for two? I got a house with window doors. I'll show you mine. You show me yours. You gotta let me in. Hey, 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 let the fun begin. Hey, I'm the wolf today. Hey, 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 I'll huff, I'll puff, I'll huff, I'll puff, I'll blow you away. Say you will, say you won't, say you do what I don't. Say you're true, say to me, say to me. Yeah, what are you like? I mean, she bewitches me. It is Gina. How's it going, Gina?
Woo! Hello, welcome on in, team. I'm feeling very royal for this Crown Jewel.
Yes, yeah, it was good to have you aboard. I do feel like I put a lot of effort into that, so I might have to catch my breath. But it's exciting.
I
WWE
always
catch up, getting up to
appreciate
date.
the songs and the effort you put into that, James. I really do.
One day you'll just be doing a song, and then halfway through I'll just cut out, and that will be me. But at least we'll have a recording of
One
it. Do you
day
know what
you'll
I
sing
mean?
the
Like,
song that I know the lyrics to, and I can actually join you in them.
I'll catch up soon. I have said in the 90s, you know. But anyway, we've got a lot of WWE to catch up on. Raw, SmackDown, and Saturday night's main event. But we're going to start with Crown Jewel with the kickoff in Perth, Australia, which had Cole on stage with fans because international fans care. You know, you don't have it in the States. Grayson Waller was co-host, and people wonder why they let him stay. It's for moments like this, I suppose. One of the guards protecting the belts had a black eye, which wasn't the best to look, but hey, AJ Styles arrived and he got the love he deserves. AJ confirmed 2026 is his last year. He wants to spend time with his family. What a prick. Jaxie, I mean, we think we touched on it last week when we talked about Kenny being in the state, but AJ actually now officially announcing his retirement. I think it's a really big deal, you know?
I mean, yeah. I mean, first of all, the sheer audacity. How dare you, AJ, actually act like you are allowed any form of life outside of wrestling? How dare you? But in all seriousness, I don't know whether or not it's just sort of an amalgamation of a bunch of our favorite wrestlers, probably who had all kind of reached their prime and now getting to that stage. But I do think it's a knock-on effect, with the way that injuries happen as of late. We have to expect that that there are going to be quite a few wrestlers that are looking to ensure that they don't leave the industry um, because of injury. Is their choice
Mm.
when they're leaving. So this makes a lot of sense. I'm always going to be gutted though. I definitely feel like AJ Styles never got the run that I had hoped he was going to get within like WWE as a company at least. But what they're doing with him at the moment, and like giving him like this actual like sort of potential sort of retiring sort of like final year. Hopefully they'll do a lot with it, and he can do what it is he's set out to do before he leaves. It's always going to be gutting, just like hearing from Kenny talk about that. But we also have to accept that this comes with aging, guys. You
Yeah,
know,
but AJ looks great though. Like I said, we
he
will
does.
discuss
He put so many other wrestlers to shame that are probably younger than him still at the moment in time, with the way that he could still move, and like, like how impressive he is, being in shape and what he could still do in the ring. But that just like if anything, I know this is probably going to be an unpopular opinion, but that's more pressure on the youth of the current division at the moment to be able to take that so say flag, and carry it on for AJ. Like there needs to be a lot more hard work in order to sort of like solidify yourself as a wrestler and someone on like AJ's level. And right now we don't have that. We're working towards it, but we gotta let AJ go sometimes, We gotta let him go at some point, otherwise he will end up leaving because of injury, and that is not how I want him leaving,
Yeah, that is true. Well, the crowd showered love on Stephanie Vaquer, who was visibly emotional. She said Tiffany was amazing, but she's more amazing. I do agree. The vision were out in force. Heyman has grown set, it seems, because he seems to be talking more shit to fans than ever. Reed is sick. The crowd love Roman more, and Seth just left. We've got the Kabuki Warriors next. Oscar again making Kari say and do things she doesn't want to do, and they got told to shut the fuck up, and Oscar made Sane leave. Io Sky was next, and Cole explained a bit of the history. And Monty, this is something I want to talk to you about as well, because obviously the Kabuki Warriors, but I feel recently they've gone a long way to kind of explain the kind of motives of Oscar and Io, the kind of the history, and also the way they explain, the way they get to do promos with like subtitles and that is making a lot more sense and making Oscar a lot stronger character now, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean they're really pushing Oscar to be the biggest heel woman outside of. I mean, I don't even want to. I mean, I guess until like a Liv Morgan come back to kind of lead that charge for Judgment Day if she's a heel when she returns. But other than that, I mean, outside of the Judgment Day faction, who is kind of like they are heels, but they're not doing much that important in my opinion right now. So it's like Oscar's really leading that charge, and I think like you mentioned, all the different creative ways of just telling stories with Oscar and using the relationship with EO, and I think Oscar's been doing a good job of kind of telling these stories herself, like on her own YouTube, whether it's recording her and translating her own promos and you uploading it to her personal YouTube, which I think WWE finally started to smarten up and realize we can use some of this on TV and allow her to add more context for what she's doing on her own personal page too. So it's been working out, and I think it's a great way. It's effective. I think I know, and people who pay attention, people who've been paying attention, and I think a lot of people have great respect for Oscar. But at the same time, I do think it's always been like another level they could always go with the character. And I think from a storytelling stance, she's always been there. She's always brought it in the ring. But I think they're finally starting to get really, really get what we want from the character across on television, and by doing the different promos with subtitles, by just leaning into the relationship in the past with EO, and even like you mentioned, the mannerisms or just the treatment of Kyrie, because I do think that's probably going to be an effective storytelling moment as we continue this on. Is like, will Kyrie finally or ever stand up? But I think it's beautiful because Kyrie is literally playing the role of the traditional younger wrestler. I mean, if you really look at these people in Japan, look at all three of these talents in Japan. Like you got Io, who's basically looked at as one of the greatest of all time, starter, and Oscar, who is a trailblazer. But like Kyrie isn't like some slouch. Like she's a legend in her own right. But to kind of reinforce the senpai and the teacher relationship or the elder respect dynamic that often happens in Japan, you kind of see Kyrie kind of cower and continue to take a back seat. So I do think whenever she decides to have a backbone, if she does, or if she leans into doing more of Oscar's dirty work, I think either way you go can be effective storytelling, and it has a lot of real life backing behind it, which I think makes it easier for them to portray these characters on TV. So, like I said, they've been doing a really good job across the board, whether it's WWE and obviously with Oscar. I think Oscar is finally being allowed to pour a little bit of herself into her character and not just be the reliable worker Oscar that we come to know.
Mm. Yeah, without a doubt. And again, I've had people commenting with the Kabuki Warriors as well about Kari maybe not being on the same level. And it's like, she did win the first Mae Young Classic. She has got stuff, but again, it doesn't seem to be talked about as much as maybe Oscar and Io, which again is fine right now. But like I said, there hopefully will be a time with the story. Ray Ripley was last, but the fans go nuts, and rightly so. Ray had a Steve Irwin top on, and Io said Rhea is a friend, and Ripley honestly finishes with the Aussie, 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 and then the Shuri because, it is Australia. And then we had SmackDown with Cody starting the show in Perth. He's wearing his Crown Jewel ring for the first time in a year. Gina, this fucking annoys me. The Crown Jewel ring was so important. Why would you just wear it the week before the next Crown Jewel event, If it's so nice.
Yeah, exactly. It just really makes you feel like it defeats the whole object or the whole point of like the matches themselves and winning it. It's like, what, do you only bring it out once a year sort of thing? Yeah, it's a bit
Yeah.
confusing. I would be like MJF basically walking around and showing everyone my damn pinky. Like, look at my pinky, look at my championship that I won. I'd be doing that for 365 days until I got to pass it back, you know?
Yeah. I've got another question for you. Cody didn't actually say anything, but did McIntyre just travel to Australia to beat up Jacob for two backstage? And did Nick Aldis just travel to give like a backstage announcement? I can't believe it.
Yeah, it definitely feels that way, doesn't it? And it's like, well, don't you think that's a bit of waste of money, Drew? You know, that could have been put towards your next trip with your wife next year or something. But I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe he needed the miles. I don't know. We've got Sami Zayn's United States Open Challenge, and it was answered by none other than returning Shinsuke Nakamura, who hadn't had a match since June. And Nakamura was gearing up for the Kinshasa. He was pulled out the ring and attacked by a man in the hoodie, revealed to be Tama Tonga. And the rest of Solo Sikoa's bloodline showed up and attacked Zayn, but Sikoa was not there until the assault was over. Jaxie, there was a lot to talk about here. I know, again, it seems a long time ago, but Nakamura coming back, it's great. He had his old theme, and then Sodo's crew had the face paint, maybe looking to change their destinies.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see all the callback there. It was very exciting to see Shinsuke, returning with like such a much loved theme anyway. But I also feel like there was a lot of rumors about Tama Tonga returning at this point. A lot of people had seen him, I think, at Perth Airport or something along those lines. So yeah, there was definitely a lot to like unpack in terms of like the direction that um the MFTs are going at this point and like what they're looking to do with Solo. So I was definitely intrigued now that we've got kind of the team back together and reunited again, like where things were going from here, how who was getting a push and where.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Tiffy and Vakwa defeated James and Judy. It wasn't bad. The men's tag titles were on the line when Dexter Lumis, Joe Gacy defended against Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. The champions posed the MFT, showed up for a standoff, and nothing has happened since. Spoiler alert. And the main event was Priest versus Black, last man standing, and it was Zelina Vega, Black's wife, showing up and pleading with Priest not continue onslaught, and Black encouraged her to leave. He threw a fireball at Priest for hitting Black Mass, then Priest crashing through the platform to the floor. I mean, Monty, this was a good spot. The only thing that really fucking annoyed me were those indie wrestlers or actors pretending to be fans behind and ruining the segment for me.
Yeah, but I think to the casual eye, that was probably not that big a deal because like until I saw somebody draw attention to it after, I wasn't really even paying attention. To be fair, so but yeah, so I think to the casual eye, it probably still looked passable or good enough, but I can understand your frustration. But yeah, I think this was cool. It's a nice little ending. I do kind of feel for Priest because it's just like since being world champion, he's been relegated to just being stock babyface who puts other people over. So it does kind of suck to see him, fall again. Even though I'm not saying I was expecting anything else, but I think him and Black have had some really good matches, and I think
Mm.
at the end of the day, they have established Malachi or Alistair in this case now. They've done a good job of trying to reestablish, and I mean I'm excited for the new direction that they could go in with him and pairing him with his wife. Zelina's been asking for this for years. Like before he left the first time, she wanted to be paired. with her husband, obviously, and they wanted to do spooky things together. So we'll see how it goes. But this was a good start, and I love when the fireball trick actually works because it's a lot of times where it don't. So it's cool to
Yeah.
see it actually work.
Yeah, and again, it's kind of weird as well with Andrade leaving because we thought maybe Zelina Vega could go there, but with Alistair Black, and now it seems like a lot of people comparing it to Scarlett and Karen Cross as well. So we'll see where the Vega Black goes. Like I said, it's at a good base. October 11th then was Crown Jewel, the countdown. Cole, Biggie, Wade, Jackie, and Kathy. The crowd was great. Sang Rhea happy birthday. Also chat with her. Chelsea Green did main event menu. Grayson Waller praised the New Day in front of Big E, which is a really good moment. And I was so pleased Rhea was the first NXT UK Women's Champion as well. She made it through to Mae Young because of Tegan Knox's injury. So maybe it could be, I mean, Gina, do you ever think about that? It could have been completely different. If Tegan Knox hadn't been injured, Rhea Ripley wouldn't have been in the Mae Young Classic and then progressed maybe as far as she could. And maybe Tegan would have carried on because obviously we know what she's suffered since, It's weird.
Yeah, it definitely makes you think, how different their lives may be, and the storylines that each of them got involved with may be completely different. Would they have, the sort of wrestle career that each other has now, which are completely different?
Mm.
But regardless, I always think that whether Rhea was in the Mae Young Classic or not, I think she would have always got herself noticed because she's such a big personality. She can't go unnoticed. So I do think eventually she still would have been the star she is.
Yeah, that's what Matt Drew. So cream rises to the top. We got to sit down with Bronson Reed. We got an AJ Styles interview, and he said he's going to beat up John Cena. As for the arena, the amount of yellow John Cena tops was crazy. I honestly thought they were handing them out, but no, apparently it was just the money that WWE were making.
It was
The US national,
absolutely crazy to see that.
it was, wasn't it? Like, it was just a
Well,
sea yellow,
literally,
just like.
first of all, I was like, well, there's so many SpongeBob in the. But then I was like, oh shit, it's the John Cena t-shirts, of course. But yeah, I would have been that probably been that one that didn't get the memo and would have been
Mm.
stood there without a t-shirt like that.
The US national anthem was booed. Sorry about that, Monty. And Sophie Foster didn't care though because she got cheered for Waltzing Matilda. And then the main show, we got the same intro, SmackDown and kickoff with the superstar rivals being Reed, Cody, Stephanie, Tiffy, etc. Another video, and then fireworks, lots of them. And we start with Bronson Reed, who got a good reception, with Roman Reigns, who was treated like a God. So our first match is Reed versus Reigns. The crowd was singing for Reigns before he let loose for the first punches of the match. He started running Reed from corner to corner with the crowd reacting loudly to everything. And it took a few minutes for the fight spilled in the ring and onto the crowd. The OTC remained in control and used the garbage can as a weapon. The Trouble Chief was having a great time playing to the crowd. He even grabbed the mic and asked the fans if he wanted to see some tables, which obviously got them even more excited. It took a long time for Reed to finally begin mounting some offense, but once he did, it became a much more back and forth match. Bron Breakker showed up to assist his teammate. They gave the Usos an opening to help Reigns. Jackson, he speared Reigns through a table that was set up in the ring, which was the beginning of the end. Reed hit the tsunami for the pin and the biggest win of his career. Jaxie, start us off here. What were your thoughts on this?
Um, we've seen Roman versus Bronson before, but I thought that this match, like you said, I think you pointed it out well. Like Roman was having a lot of fun with this match. Like I think the crowd were just so excited and really hyped up to even see Bronson in a match. We know for a fact that Bronson was supposed to be at another pay-per-view event that was based in Australia,
He
but like he
Bronson missed the chamber in Perth. Yeah, you're right
that's
about that. Yeah.
it. Yeah. So like this for him, you could tell was a really feel good moment to finally actually make it, in a WWE event. And of all people that he was facing, Roman Reigns, that is a big fucking deal. So I really enjoyed this match. I thought Bronson gave it his all. I could tell that there were like certain people that still were like cheering him, even though that he's meant to be that heel. And I think it just worked brilliantly. I enjoyed this. There was like that gutting feeling of not having like the outcome that you want, but at the same time, I think overall, I think the match was brilliant. It was definitely the best way to start or open up Crown Jewel. With an Australian street fight, the way they did it, the way they were moving through the crowd, like you could just tell this really helped to amp up the crowd who were probably already just as excited about this whole event anyway. But this really set the stage, you know?
Yeah, without that. Yeah, like I said, Roman's new slot opening the show was great. And talk about how big a
Mhm.
victory it was. Only
Mhm.
Cody has beaten Roman in singles action in 5 years. So,
Oh shit, really? That's a
yeah, but
big
you
fucking deal. Okay, WWE, don't drop the ball here, okay? Come on.
yeah, that is a big deal. And again, Monty Jaxie made some excellent points there. When it comes to what they have to do now with this victory, it can't just be kind of like one and done, wherever it is. Do you know what I mean? They have to kind of build from it. And of course, with the Usos getting involved now, adds another thing as well. Of course.
Yeah, I think that was my favorite part of it was like the storytelling after it. And just basically the Usos, Roman basically banishing the Usos and say, I don't want to see y'all again till Christmas. I love that. Like, I'm good on y'all for now. And it was just, it's like it made it like Roman. I don't know if this is. It can go multiple ways, but it felt like it was a realization type of thing to where it's like, all right, it won't be like it always been. Like, and I think even with Jay, as we'll see going forward, I think even the Usos themselves will have to realize that no, things won't be the way it was. So if they are going to get to the top, they're gonna have to do it differently. And I think that's the interesting thing about this because, like you mentioned, you're still not used to it. I think this is another sign that you might want to get used to it. I know Roman's a babyface now, but they can still coast and still give Roman victories if they wanted to. So I really commend them for doing the right thing here. I don't, not really used to them thinking about like putting over a guy, and even if it was where he's from, and like I know he was kind of old or spotlight here, but he still still pinning Roman is pinning Roman. I think he even kind of compared it to his experience beating Okada when he was in New Japan.
Mm.
So even Jonah slash Bronson knows how much of a big deal this is, and I just thought it was really cool of them to kind of go ahead and do what they had to do with it. I think him and Roman have pretty good chemistry, and I think they did a really good job here. The crowd was great. You can tell they were, like you said, over the moon with this matchup. And I think at the end of the day, this is one of them rare times where it may not have been a perfect match or like the greatest thing you've ever seen, but I think for what it was and for the talents that were in it, and I think for the result, because like again, I think this is gonna do wonders for Brunson. I don't even know where they. I know you guys are saying don't drop the ball, but I don't even know what that means per se when it comes to Brunson. Like, yes, I see big things with him, but right now we all kind of know that he's gonna be second fiddle to Braun at least immediately the way things are right now. So
Mm.
I do want them to continue and push him like a star because I do think this is a star making type of deal or performance, especially whenever you're in there with Roman. But I think for what it was, and I think for the moment, at least right now, until I see where Triple H or where they decide to go in the future with it, I think this is good and it's a great building point. Like I think you can build off it going forward with Bronson, and maybe he won't feel so sick and feel to the train that it feel like Braun Breaker is on. But at the end of the day, I love it. I think it was a great decision. I thought it was a solid match. And I'm interested to see where we're going forward when it comes to the bloodline, and or at least the OG bloodline. At least it'd be interesting to see where we are now
Mm.
after Roman taking a loss here.
Yeah, without a doubt. And again, only with Bronson Reed, I just don't want him to go the kind of comedic tag team partner type route. Do you know what I mean? That's my worry for it. I don't think he's far away from that at the moment. But again, that's kind of where WWE goes at this moment in time when it comes to guys his size. And another thing, talk about gimmicks as well, Gina. I find it funny that Bron Breaker's gimmick is the big dog, which was Roman Reigns, and Roman couldn't get it over, but Bron makes it work, and I don't know why. I don't know how it works now.
Yeah, especially because you can hear the crowd. They always do sort of the wolf for Braun. And it's like when you try to remember when Roman was trying to be the big dog, it would more be like groans than a fellow wolf.
Mm.
Like, so it does seem to be working better for Braun than it is for Roman in terms of the big dog persona. I'm not sure why that is. I don't think the WWE universe and fans were ready for Roman Reigns when they tried to make him over. I don't think they were ready for it. Like it worked out perfectly for him now. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I, I don't know. I do think that they need to keep pushing the two bronze. I think if they do want him to them both to be like as over as what they're trying to portray at the moment. They need to solidify it and not just make it a one-hit win, you know?
Yeah.
So I definitely agree with that. But I also think that they're both doing really well. When they both kind of were being featured on the main card before they were part of the Vision, I wasn't sure as to where they were going to be sort of within a year's time on the match card, you know? But it's so great to see how much it has grown for them both.
And again, arguably, this is a bigger victory than what anything Bron has had as well. So again, we'll see if there's any jealousy, anything that grows from it. But scores from this match,
It would
Jaxie, what
be
would you give it?
interesting to
Oh,
see
sorry,
for
Gina.
sure.
Yeah, Jaxie, what would you give it?
Um, this one I gave a 4 1/4.
1 1/4. Monty.
Yeah, I gave it a 4. I know you didn't ask me though, but I do think part of it too for Braun, the reason why it works is a little bit of history too. Like his dad, they used to bark with his dad too,
Yeah, it's got a
just
dog
because
in
his
him. Yeah.
daddy, yeah, because his daddy kind of looked like a bulldog with the helmet thing and all that. So it's kind of a history thing. But I'm not gonna act like modern day fans remember that. So it definitely got it definitely got more to do so with the way he carries himself and the fact that he barks too with it. But I do think a little bit of that is always I always get a chuckle out of them barking for him because they used to do it for his dad.
Yeah, Gina, what would you give it?
Yeah, I think a 4 1/4 from me.
Yeah, I'm going to give it 4 1/4. Well, predictions. Well, the WNR Prediction League 2025. This is after Wrestle Dream, but before Crown Jewel. So the bonus league at the moment, Gina on 13, Jaxie and James locked on 16, 2 points behind Monty, chomping at his heels. The WWE, and what we're doing today, well, it's not over yet because I'm on 5. I'm way out of it. But Jaxie and Gina, again, both on 7 points, 2 behind Monty. And then AEW. Jaxie and James again on 1 point each, Gina on 3, and Monty on 4. So there's still a lot to play for in the prediction league. We all went Roman, so we're all on 0. What a great start. The Women's Crown Jewel Championship was up for grabs when Stephanie Vaquer faced Tiffany Stratton. The crowd chant for both women as the bell rang. They circled each other a couple of times for locking up. They had a few nice exchanges, but when Stratton extended her hand as a sign of respect, Vaquer tried to kick her. Now, Primera was the more aggressive competitor, and both women used some moves we don't see from them often in an attempt to make this match stand out. Vaquer got the victory with a spiral tap to become the second women's champion, Crown Jewel champion. Triple H came out to present her with a belt and the ring for winning. A bit too close for me. Monty, what were your thoughts on this matchup?
It was all right. I mean, I think this is another situation where, and I don't want to spend all my time shitting on Tiffany because a lot of stuff that has went down with her, she's done great for the most part. A lot of it got to do with booking, but to me, this kind of showcased her limitations. To me, even though I don't think it was anything wrong with the match or anything that she did wrong, I just think like the messaging of it, like every other match on this card is 25, 20 minutes at least. And then the one match, now again, this is on them, but the one match that is just barely 10 minutes is Tiffany Stratton versus Stephanie Valkyrie. And I just think for a match that's supposed to be for whatever you believe the Crown Jewel title to be, or whatever this we got the two best women in WWE, supposedly, if you think about what this booking is supposed to mean and they only get barely 10 minutes, and it was solid. Don't get me wrong. I think it could have been better. I just think they think it would have been better if they were given more time to actually build up and actually show more of their chemistry. Even though uh, I do think Stephanie was just like she's on a hot streak and the crowd is into everything she do. So I do think it's easy, and I do think it was a face versus face match. So
Mm.
it was kind of like it's always tough to actually get people or actually have the best chemistry in my opinion when it's face versus face. They sprinted, and I do think it was probably better than what I remember. But off the top of my mind, I just remember it being over quick and just being like, okay, this is okay, but I definitely was wanting for more when you think about what this match is supposed to symbolize. And I do think oftentimes, just like we talked about in her Jade Cargill match, I think that was SummerSlam or whatever. I think it was SummerSlam. It's just like for some reason Tiffany's matches for this situation, if it's not Nia Jax, they're not giving it time. She got I guess they don't have no problem giving us 20 minute not boring, but 20-minute Nia Jax matches of different stipulations for Tiffany. So you can tell they obviously know that they trust each other and it's good. But when it comes to showcasing her with the rest of the roster at this point, up to this point right here, when it comes to Stephanie, they didn't want to do it, but they don't want to give it much time. But I do think it was fine, and I do think it was fun. So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it was horrible or bad. I just think it was like a glaring tone switch from the rest of the card if you think about how long and how important everything else felt.
Yeah, without doubt. And like I said, the fans were definitely behind Stephanie Moore. And I mean, Gina, this is a good match, but a bit weird for Triple H. I mean, Triple H's got to remember which Stephanie you are, because that's probably an excuse. He's like, oh, I thought you were Stephanie McMahon rather than Victoria, just, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not shocked by the outcome of it, and the match kind of did what I expected from the match. It's not like they really did a big build up to this match with a big storyline behind it. It was just for the sole purpose of putting our two best against each other. I always question when they do matches like this, even with the Survivor Series kind of pay-per-view and how they held it sort of in the Attitude Era, having your best versus your best, because you're always going to have one lose, and we know how WWE don't like to make their guys lose or look bad in any way. So I'm not always like the biggest fan of these types of matches, but I still think it was a good match. It was decent. Would I have liked a longer time for the ladies to just showcase what they can both do? Yes, I would have loved that, because like you said, I feel like Tiffany's only been given the longer matches when it's against Nia. But anyone else, it's just like, no, quick, short match, you're losing out. But yeah, it does seem like Triple H is getting a preference for another Stephanie here, and the Mrs. McMahon, the Mrs. Helmsley, sorry, should be slightly worried.
Be
But
careful.
I'm still happy with the outcome. I thought it was a good match, and I really am happy for Stephanie. She needed this win more than Tiffany did.
Yeah, well, you mentioned that, and then Jaxie again. I'm going to give you a fact. This was Tiffany's first loss this year. So again, she's in a good place.
Yeah, I don't think that this loss ultimately has done anything to take away from what it is that Tiffany's achieved so far. But I do feel like this was a change that was needed. I feel like there was just again, I think it probably could be exactly what you pointed out in terms of just the length of time Tiffany's been given for her matches, but they needed a bit more of a change up when it came to the title picture for this specific title. Not anything that any fault of Tiffany's. I think she did a great job with what she had and what time she did have, but I also feel like the creative wise it was a bit stale for her, so they needed to change things up, and I think Stephanie is on a tear and on a hype right now, and if there was going to be anyone that was going to actually cause Tiffany to take an L here, I'm happy that it is someone like Stephanie Picure, who's clearly made such an impact from the moment she stepped foot on sort of the main roster. So I do think, again, it was a good match. It was good. I can't really say much more than that, because I just don't feel like they were given the right amount of time. And this is something that is just consistently a booking issue that WWE and AEW have at the moment, at not giving enough time to the women's matches that actually do need it, and giving more time to those matches that don't need it,
Yeah, without a doubt. We got a quick interview with Stephanie. The title represents the love the fans have given her, she says. Oh, that's nice, isn't it? Out of 5, then Monty, what would you give this one?
3.5.
3.5. Gina?
Yeah, 3 3/4.
3 3/4. Jaxie?
I gave this a 4.
And I gave it a 4 as well. Predictions. Well, I went Tiffany. The clever ones went Stephanie. So I'm on 0. The rest are on 1. Heyman tells the Bronze not to get involved in Seth's match. And AJ Styles versus John Cena was next. And seeing AJ in shorts brought back memories. And how good he looked. Eh? Those legs, man. I mean, if Roman got a pop by God, then Cena was kind of next level. I don't know what's bigger than God. Maybe you can email in and tell me. Looked like a colt with the amount of yellow tops that were in the arena, as we said before. Both men had special introductions by the ring announcer. There was mentions for Bullet Club and TNA. And then once the bell rang, they locked up and went to work. Styles was a step ahead of Cena in the first few sequences, which led to the TNA chant from the crowd. After a few minutes, Philemon outpacing Cena, he started looking a bit gassed. He made a comeback, hit the five-knuckle shuffle followed by the AA, but failed to get the pin. When he tried to use the STF, Styles countered into a crossface. Seemed like both men had counter for everything the other tried. They had a sequence where both men were using their own finishers and moves to some of their bigger rivals, but neither man could seal the deal. For roughly 30 minutes, Cena and Styles had the crowd eating out the palms of their hands. It took a tombstone pole driver followed by an AA to finally put Styles down for the 3 count. Gina, what were your thoughts on this?
Yeah, for me, this is one of my favorite matches, to be honest. I thought it was such a good match, and this is the type of match that I expected throughout this whole year for John Cena. You know, we all know that we've not been a fan of quite a few matches of John Cena's, not because of a fault of his own, but just lack of, I don't know, chemistry or just not, of the caliber that we know that John could possibly bring us. Styles, for me, pushed John to do that. I hate to say it, but it was a little reminiscent of the John Cena Logan Paul match, which I hate admitting that was a good match, but it really was a good match. And again, if you're trying to think about, John Cena on his final year out, you want him to have, in the words of Sheamus, banger after banger. This for me was one of them. I think AJ just, like I said, brought out a really great match in Cena, helped him look good as well. I did I assume this ending was going to happen, this outcome was going to happen? Yes, of course. But I'm also not mad at it. I think it still made them both look great, and it just proved why they're both two of the greatest in the industry at the moment.
Yeah, without a doubt. This was everything, like I said, the Brock match wasn't. And we talk about what moves he hit. I mean, Jaxie, obviously, the moves he hit in this match, he hit the Cena hit the Mrs. Skull Crusher finale. Styles hit the Sting Scorpion Death Drop, but Cole didn't mention it, Sting by name. Cena used Rusev's Accolade, and Styles used a Coquina Clutch, obviously, Samoa Joe. The Walls of Jericho and the Sister Abigail for Bray Wyatt. Christopher Daniels' Angel Wings, and of course, Cena hit an RKO and a rope hung DDT, with Styles using Cena's own AA. And Styles hit Frankie Kazarian's Fade to Black as well, which many people didn't see. The Sweet Chin Music, and of course, the Undertaker's choke slam and Tombstone, man. It's just wow.
I think it was so impressive. Like
That
it
was just awesome. Yeah.
that was so good. Like, did you also mention the spear? But it was like Edge's spear. That's what I got from it.
Yeah.
Like I also kind of took that because everyone, like, I think everyone presumed it was like Edge that he did that for. And that also is something that I think that people have been like discussing, is whether or not they can get a match between Edge and John Cena, not Adam Copeland, Edge. So who knows? Well, we still have a little bit of the year before he leaves. Who knows? But again, I couldn't count the amount of like moves that he did. That was just, it was perfect. Just paying homage to everyone. I definitely got emotional seeing him do the Sister Abigail. I think he did too, actually. But it was just so feel good. And this is the type of opponent and the level of type of match that John should have been having throughout the whole year. I can't really say much more about this match. I just thought it was great. This was a great team up. This is exactly why the fans were shouting for this match, this team up, because AJ could push John to bring out the best in him, and it just worked. They worked both so well together, and it was just amazing to see. I'm so pleased that they both got this opportunity before both of them retired.
Yeah, their crowd chanting 619. So when it was cut off, it was perfect as well, because it looked like Cena was actually going to hit it. Let's not forget, AJ can't escape the tombstone either. And Monty, again, we saw so much in this matchup with call ups, but one bit of history as well, as John Cena got his 100th PLE win which again is a fantastic achievement. And it reminds reminiscent of Tanahashi getting his 100th G1 win as well, which is weird they both accomplished it in their last year.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of poetic in a sense, but yeah, I mean I don't have much to add. I really don't. I mean it was special. It was the crowd. I mean I would just tell people to watch it for themselves, like especially if you're a fan, whether you're a fan of both guys or just a fan of wrestling. I mean that's how good it was. It was I don't know. I'm thinking I try not to think about match of the year because a lot of matches blur together, but it's definitely one of those moments where it's like, all right, if you want like mentioned earlier, if you want to think about his retirement in a positive light, stuff like this kind of takes the cake comparison if you're just comparing it to what we've kind of gotten in other areas. But you know, what more could you ask for though? I mean, like to
Mm.
be honest, these two guys are two of the best, two legends. It's very poetic that they're both kind of calling it quits. Too, you know, AJ is leaving too in soon. So for them to be able to do that, and then like, again at the request of the fans, it all feels organic, even if it wasn't. I'm sure it feels like it was, but I'm just saying you never know. It could have been all a part of everything. So I'm just glad that we got it, and I'm glad that they got a chance to just get the reaction from the fans, get the reaction online because you know again, uh, some of the cool stuff that they did, and just I don't know. I mean, WWE has never done this really before, and I think that's one thing. I'm not saying we shouldn't shit on Triple H or shit on them for failing in grand fashion, but none of these people really got a great no. But it's so many people that went by, and I don't remember them getting a farewell tour where it was acknowledged. Like, yeah, they got wrote off. You got retirement matches in the past, but like a legitimate, we announced it a year ahead of time and then trying to do TV. I'm pretty sure they was out of their element. But the since they've decided to pivot and just give us a good feeling towards Cena just having matches with the future and some of his greatest rivals, you know, you just can't do no wrong. And I think at the end of the day, matches like this are going to be one of those ones where it's like, it may not have always, it may not have been perfect, but this is what that retirement tour and this is what it was all about. It's just allowing him to go out there for one of those final times in a place he probably will never perform in this element again, and then just go out there and just let it all hang out and give the fans what they want. And who better to do it with than another legend like AJ? And like the fact that a guy like AJ is in this spot is amazing too, because you can go back and guys like AJ weren't supposed to end up in WWE. They weren't supposed to be. He probably I know he'll tell you that it was no way that he's supposed to end up being as big of a WWE legend as he is probably an Impact legend. So, of course, he is the greatest Impact wrestler, but he's gonna go in the WWE Hall of Fame too for what he did. He's done in his run, and I think that's just pretty fucking cool because again, as somebody who's been watching him from when I was a kid all the way back, I loved AJ all the time. But I was perfectly fine saying he's one of the greatest of all time without ever stepping foot in WWE. So the fact that he stepped foot in WWE changed the way they look at outsiders in a sense, or helped change the way they look at outsiders, and have
Mm.
found a way to still to put himself right next to the name of John Cena. That's amazing in itself, also. And I thought that was really cool what Cena did for him, kind of giving him a special announcement too, highlighting the fact that they're on the same level. I think that's really cool. I mean, Cena's a great guy, but like, he didn't have to do that. And I think even after the match, AJ acknowledged that. So it was the little things in this match for me, man. The wrestling, I knew these two guys were just gonna go out there and float and let the crowd, because John Cena's a very reactionary wrestler. He's gonna let the crowd want to see something. Cena's gonna try to make it happen. That's just how he always wrestled. But to see these two guys go out there and just do all the nice little cool shit that they didn't have to do, and just give fans. I think fan service is the best way to explain. I know anybody who watches anime, you probably know what that is. So like that's kind of like what this is. This is wrestling fan service at its best.
Yeah, without a doubt. So out of five, then, Gina, what would you give this match out of five?
I'll give it 4.5.
2.5. Jaxie?
What the John Cena match?
Yeah.
Oh, this got 5 star for me.
Yeah, Monty.
Yeah, 5 star.
Yeah, I'll go with 5 as well. Predictions, we all went Cena, so yeah, I get a point. I'm on 1, the rest are on 2. We got the Kabuki Warriors versus the Earth Sky and Rhea Ripley next. Ripley started the match, but it didn't feel like it got going until Sky got tagged in. Early in the match, Oscar made her feelings clear when she tried to offer a handshake, only to put it away and yell at the genius of the Sky. Ripley and Sane were to get taking breathers so the Empress Tamara and a former friend could have a long sequence to themselves. Sky had the upper hand until Sane got involved again and helped Oscar send her into the ring post. Sky spent a long time on the defensive while the Kabuki Warriors double teamed her. Sky and Oscar both tagged out at the same time, and the crowd exploded when Ripley came in and started beating up opponents. Sane sacrificed herself to save Oscar, but it led to her demise as Ripley and Sky hit their finishes on her for the win. Jaxie, what were your thoughts on this?
Yeah, this was a great match. I think that like all four of these women have great chemistry. And like there was just so much hype behind both Io and Rhea. They're just great as a tag team duo, and I'm all for like those two, running the tag division for a while at some point because they're just great to watch and be around. Look, again, I feel like this actually might have gone a bit longer than the Stephanie Tiffany match. I think that the women like utilized their time and they did really well with it. I'm just gutted because I feel like with the current like sort of like tear that the Kabuki Warriors going on, I feel like they could have probably done more storyline wise if had the Kabuki Warriors won. That being said, I think I think this match actually went a little better than Tiffany and Stephanie's match, and that's more given the fact that I feel like they had a bit more time to play with. Um, a
Mm.
lot of that could probably be down to the fact that obviously being in Perth and with Rhea Ripley being part of the match, that was always going to be, a given that she would get more time. Um, but I just like again, it's just like talking going back to like the booking issue and like how they really need to balance out which matches should have more time and which matches shouldn't. Not saying that this is one of those though. What I'm saying is I wish like the other women's match had just as long to do just as good. But I still thought this was a good overall tag match.
Yeah, I mean the Kabuki Warriors are great, aren't they? And EO is so cool. But I mean, Monty Jackson did mention about the match length, but this could have been in a dangerous position, being straight after Cena and Styles. But Rhea was strong enough in the reaction, and the crowd was invested in the other ones to actually make this work as well.
Yeah, I think that's why you put. I think that's why you put this match there. I mean, you're banking on her being a big enough star, especially in that market, but just in general, we all know that Rhea is pretty much the by far the biggest female star that they have at the moment. But like in Australia, matter of fact, I said female, she's a big Australian star too. So, while they're there, I think you bank on that reaction, you bank on that faith, and that the fans would support this enough almost based purely off of that. But I do think they also were helped with the fact that this has been one of the best stores on at the moment. It might even have a better angle than any other match on this card. Now that I think it is, it actually does. It's like the best angle, and even if you maybe if you are more into the self and Cody than their history, you could say that. But I don't think with the because of time constraints or whatever, this was their match was built up better. I think the best built match on this card, probably by far, is what they've been doing uh, with uh, with Rhea and of course the Kabuki Warriors and EO. So I do think this was in a good spot because I do think, like you said, they knew that they featured everyone in this match enough, and everyone would still be invested. So I do think it worked out in that match. As a matter of fact, I do think if you trade it out, let's say you do this match before Cena, I don't know if Stephanie and Tiffany uh,
Yeah, exactly.
would
Yeah.
survive it. You know what I mean? So maybe that's part of that's the reason why I would probably definitely place it here instead of in the other slot. I thought this was
Mm.
fun though, man. It was definitely longer because I got like the opposite complaint. That's why I think it was a concerted effort because I feel like this match they tagged a little bit extra time on that they probably didn't necessarily need Not that I'm ever complaining about more Rhea and more, Oscar, Io, and Kyrie, but the point I'm trying to make is that, that's why I thought that they kind of on purpose shortened the Tiffany match, because I just felt like this match was so much longer to where now it looks weird that match was so much shorter. But this was fun. I thought it was cool. I think, to be honest, not saying that I understand, yes, from a story telling aspect, it would have been great to see the Kabuki Warriors win, but I do think you asking a lot, because I don't see them letting Rhea Ripley, even if she didn't get pinned, I don't think she was losing in Australia. And I think the crowd, even though they were exhausted, they still were trying to give them everything. And I also thought the ending was a fine ending, because it also adds to what we're talking about with Oscar's element. Is like, how long will Kyrie take the bullets because of the beefs or whatever that Oscar is getting them into? Is it gonna always be Kyrie taking the bullet, or will Oscar finally have to, you know, fall prey, because she's kind of stoking these fires that they're in. So again, I thought this was good, and the crowd could have been better, but I do think they did the best they could. And again, I think these might be WWE's four best women. Of course, I'm forgetting some. Of course, like, would be actively though, with Bianca injured and Liv gone. These might be the best women that WWE have to offer, and I thought they all did really good.
Yeah. I mean, I'm always that friend that that causes shit and then gets the other friends to bail them out. So, like, I completely understand. I'm team Oscar at this moment in time. Gina, we speak about. I think the only problem, like, remember, not this match as much, but the problem with building a women's tag match is not having a women's division to kind of fall back on. Do you know what I mean? So the build up was just between these guys rather than actual maybe tag matches in the build up to the match.
Yeah, no, definitely. A lot of it is kind of like individuals and then, friend just coming to help out a friend
Yeah.
rather than it actually being, a tag division focused sort of storyline. Don't get me wrong, the match was a star for me, it was just great because all four women just know how to put on a show and they have great chemistry, like my sister said. But it is like you say, these are kind of like the top four that's in the division right now. There's not much of a tag like division to back up on, and if there is, they're not really being showcased enough for people to remember. So it's just hard because there's always a hit and miss when it comes to their female matches and what matches get more priority over others, sort of thing. And it does affect it when you're trying to build up such a storyline so that when you do get to the premium live event match, it feels like everything's on the line. So I definitely agree with that sense. But still, for me, it was a star match.
Yeah, without doubt. So we're gonna give it out five then. Jaxie, what would you give it?
Um, uh, I gave this a 4.5.
Give it a 4.5. Monty,
4.25.
4.25. Gina,
4 3/4.
4.75. And I gave it a 4.5. Predictions: girls went Kabuki, the boys went for Io and Rhea. So it means Monty, boo, is on 3. The rest on 2. The main event was the men's Crown Jewel Championship match between Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes. W made sure to remind us several times that Rhodes had the perfect 3-0 record against the visually heading into the show. And the story is about how desperate Rollins was not to let history repeat itself. The American Nightmare came out of the gate hot and sent Seth out of the ring to throw a tantrum. Rhodes came after him, but the visionary took control. He started working over his opponent's leg and taunting him. He tried to use the watch Rhodes gave him as a weapon, but he couldn't bring himself to do it. This allowed the American Nightmare to make a comeback and hit a flurry of moves for a close 2 count. Both men took some big risks and had some close calls on the way to the finish. Rollins eventually used the watch as a weapon behind the ref's back before hitting a super stomp for the pin to become the men's Crown Jewel champion. Very interesting. And Monty, what were your thoughts on this main event? I mean, we know what happened during it, but we just speak about the match to begin with.
I thought it was cool. I thought it was really good. I thought it was like executed really well. I mean, the stakes, they like you said, they kept hammering on the stakes leading up to it, and even during the match. We know their history. I mean, we know Seth's relationship with Dusty, and we all, So they always gonna kind of play into that. And I liked how Seth was making mistakes, during the match. And you can kind of see Cody definitely was in his head. And but again, as things got better for Seth, you can see the confidence coming in. I thought they had some good callbacks to the other matches. And I just thought you can kind of see. I thought they did a good job of selling desperation. I thought this was a decent storytelling match from really, in my opinion, from the. I thought that's where it was the best element. Even though, of course, you got the Spanish Fly, you got a coast to coast, vertebreaker. I think at one point, so they were wrestling. They were really doing. They did a really good job of trying to make this one of the best matches that they've done. But again, does it stack up to the Hell in a Cell match? Or I mean, was that a Hell in a Cell or a cage match? It don't matter. Would it
I think
stack up to
NSL,
their
yeah.
best? Yeah, it was Hell in a Cell. Okay, cool. So does it stack up to their best? I don't know about all that. And yeah, at the end of the day, Self did have to cheat, but I did like that he didn't need the vision, because that was like, I think I already knew. I think we all kind of had a feeling how this would go, just based on, because like, yes, it's interesting to say to see like what would happen if Self lost, and what does that mean for the vision or whatever. But I think we all knew that. I mean, come on, man, you can't have a guy lose to one guy 4 times and then trying to act like he is one of the best wrestlers in the world, or the world champion. So I think we all knew what the result was, but I do think they did a good job of like not being cheap and giving us the finish of needing the vision. But I do think that Self still has the resort, and I think he still has the resort to using the watch. And I do think if they ever were to revisit this, whenever they decide to, whether it's at a Mania later on or whatever it is, I do think that could be an element that they can lean into even more. That, yeah, you won, but you had to cheat. But I also like they used that's the watch that Cody gave him. I like that. Now I do think that if you don't like that type of thing, like let's say for example, the whole CM Punk bracelet thing with Drew. If you hate those things about WWE, then I understand you probably didn't like that or don't care for that type of storytelling. But at this point, we all know that, especially in this Triple H era, they love the little. Oh man, you remember that one little interesting thing, information that didn't seem important 6 months ago? Well, look at us act like it's a big deal now for this story. So yeah, so I think if you're into that, this is right up your average WWE fan alley, and I thought it was good. But if you're not into that, I can see how you may think, okay, it was okay, but it wasn't anything crazy. But I thought it was fine. It was a satisfying conclusion to this little angle. But was it like one of the best main events I ever seen? Probably not, but I thought it was good.
Well, the thing that got me, and I don't know about you, Gina, with this one, but I just thought of Drew McIntyre. Obviously, as you do, because the amount of shit they were throwing at each other. I mean, there's a crossroads off the top that couldn't finish fucking Seth Rollins, but one normal one does Drew, doesn't it? It's like, fuck you, Drew. That's what they're
He's
saying,
weak.
isn't it?
Yes, he's weak.
It
Yeah,
makes me sick.
they just they like to obviously showcase that there are certain people on a certain level that can kick out of some finishers, and others are in that bracket of where you cannot kick out of this finisher. And sadly, Drew is in that bracket. But I do get what you mean, because that that crossroads or whatever off the top rope, it did look like that was going to be the end of it, and it in a way it's kind of like it should have been the end of it, because you're still meant to protect finishers. And for me, I really don't. Again another stickler for people using their finishers and people kicking out of them. I think like finishers back in the Attitude Era meant more, like, or it was just like so impactful when they happened. So yeah, for me, it was just this match did have a lot of those, fake outs where it's like, is this the pin? Is this the pin? And at one point, I was kind of getting over it. So it was a good match. But like Monty said, is it the best premium live review main event match we've seen? No, it's not. But it kind of did what it needed to do, which I think was the correct outcome too.
Yeah. And Jaxie, what the fuck was Seth thinking, trying to go coast to coast in a move that he's never ever done before, it looked like?
I mean, I got a bit worried about him performing that when we don't normally see that from him, and specifically because we've actually seen like injuries happen to him from doing like a normal move set. So this worried me a little bit, but I have to agree with a lot of the comments made here. Monty, if I'm correct, you were saying like the match, the Hell in a Cell match, is that the match where like Cody's pec was like
Yeah,
fucked up? Yeah. Okay. So I was
that's the
also
best
gonna
match
say,
they ever had. So that's what
yeah,
I was comparing it to. Yeah.
yeah, I have to agree with that statement there with you then, Monty, because I think, this wasn't the best match between them. I still think that Hell in a Cell match just was iconic. And just I don't think that they could replicate something like that. But they did well for it. And another thing that Monty pointed out that I'd written down was I love that Seth won this without the help of like his faction. Um, Regardless as to whether or not he still used heelish tactics. It was just kind of one sort of way to like also ensure that like it was almost like another statement to Seth, because for Seth to like pull Heyman in that, to be like, remember, I don't need you, because of like they had been sort of like teasing this whole thing of there's a lot of pressure on him to be the overall winner for the faction, for them, and I felt like by him like not using or aiding in their help, getting their help, just really kind of also did show, well, I also don't need you, remember that. So I think that kind of worked in that sense. I think the match went well and it did what it needed to do. But again, I also was a little bit questioning when it comes to sort of kicking out of like finisher moves that are so say protected. So yeah, we have same views there.
Right, down. Right, so out of 5 then for the main event, Monty, what would you give it?
4.25.
4.25. Gina?
Yeah, I'll go 4.25 too.
And Jaxie?
Yeah, same 4.25.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 4.25 as well. Predictions, we went Cody, so the final scores, the rest on 3, Monty on 4. So it means the W Prediction League, Monty on 10, Jaxie, Gina on 7, James on 5. So no one can catch us. And Monty, you have won the W Prediction League this year. Not much surprise, but I guess congratulations. I mean, you knew it in March.
How many WPLEs it is in a
That's
year?
10. That is 10. That is 10. But again, we have done a couple of nights, haven't we? So I don't know how many that was all together. Probably at 14, which is still great.
Mm, 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 mm.
Mm.
Man, and then didn't you say I'm leading all the other leagues? I'll have to win them, but didn't you say I'm leading bonus and
Honestly,
KW?
I can't look that up right now, but I'm for
Wow,
probably yeah, probably
wow,
yeah.
wow. Man,
let's
they
not
need they need to
reveal
give me
that
one of those
right
rings.
now. I don't think I could take the pressure of that.
Maybe I need the crown. We need a double Nor Crown Jewel ring that we only bring up one time out of the
No,
year.
no, we don't. No, we
Yeah,
don't. We
that's
don't
an
need
excellent
that.
idea. Crown on the ring.
No, we don't need that.
Well, I dedicate this victory to House of Torture.
Well, overall, then, talk about the rating and the match and the MVP. Gina, I'll come to you first. Your match of the night was Sky and Ripley versus the Kabuki Warriors. And who's your MVP and what's your rating out of 10, please?
Okay, well, this wasn't my favorite premium live event, as you can probably tell from my ratings of the matches. Rating out of 10, I'll give it a 7. Um MVP, I'm gonna give to Bronson Reed, because that's a big win over Roman Reigns. I kind of saw the two winners winning their crown jewel matches, so for me that wasn't a big surprise. The bigger surprise for me was Bronson getting that win. So yeah, I'll give it to him.
Perfect. Jaxie, your match of the night was Styles and Cena. So who's your MVP and what's your rating?
MVP is John Cena, I think. I think that was like the best he's looked throughout the year and in a match, and just everything that he did with the sort of dedication to all the different moves. It was just great. And then yeah, I would probably say overall, I'm gonna give it 8.5. I kind of enjoyed the matches. I also didn't think that the length was as went as long as what usually we expect.
Yeah, I thought it was much better than WrestlePalooza because obviously that was the
Yeah,
last piece of shit
yeah,
event that we had.
for sure. I I agree. Yeah, definitely better than WrestlePalooza. But yeah, overall, I liked the reasons for each match on the card.
I think that, given the circumstances, even though there were ups and downs, I think that each match, like the wrestlers all worked well with each other. And I thought it was just an enjoyable event. So 8.5 seems like good.
Yeah, perfect. Monty, for you, your match obviously was Cena and Styles. So, what is your rating MVP as well, please?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I didn't really care for this card. I mean, I had a lot of quality of life stuff going on. I'm not really a big fan of the app that they make people use in America now to watch these shows. You still have to use your video. If you want the video library, you kind of can go to Netflix, but you also can go to Peacock, and then you got this stupid new ESPN app that you watch. I only can watch WrestlePalooza and this show, which if you only really care for wrestling, you're not just watching everyday sports. I please just like, what's the fucking point of this app? Because why would I want to watch WrestlePalooza again? This is better than WrestlePalooza. I will say that. I don't know if that's saying much because I hated that fucking show. So this was good. John Cena's match obviously was a highlight. Bronson Reed, I will get an MVP because I do agree that I just love that they gave it to him. Whether I think that whether I know how they're gonna book him going forward, I can't bet on that. But as far as like for this show and him, get hurting himself and missing the last time they was in Australia, that was pretty cool for him to win it. I think my overall rating, I'll just say, was like I can't give it much. I can't give it lower than a 7, even though I didn't really care for a lot of the show. I'm gonna give it a 7.5 because I do think the last 2 matches were definitely my favorite parts of the show. No, last 3 matches because from Cena match on down, I thought was like really good stuff. And but I'm not saying Bronson's match was bad. I'm just saying, I didn't really. I was into it, but I wasn't so in love with all of it. So again, good stuff overall. Way better than the first show. But we got to clean up the way we're doing all this. And it's not just WWE. Everybody has got people. Every sport in every American sport right now got people running the 3 different apps, and it's just stupid as hell, and it's taking all my money. I hate these people. I'm gonna start selling the 7 C's if you know what that means. So go, all my pirates out there. I love you.
Yeah. For me, I'm gonna give it 8 3/4. I thought this was a step up for WrestlePalooza, but then again, I probably would have given anything that rating after the WrestlePalooza. Match obviously Cena and AJ. My MVP is Stephanie Vacquer, who I think again, when you look at all the other stuff going on this year, her rise has been incredible as well. On to the post show, which was Jackie, Biggie, and Pete Samsberg, whatever his name was. Ray is the first guest. I think the crowd here were excellent. I know I love a UK crowd, but the Australian crowd was brilliant. They gave Oscar a wanker chant. Shit cunt, I'm not so sure about as a chant, When we talk, I mean, Gina, it's not really one for the kids, is it? To start chanting shit cunt.
Oh my God, is that what they did? Oh, that's actually gross. Like, I'm a big potty mouth person as well, and I would never use that phrase. But either way, I just think, the standard asshole chants are fine. I don't think we need to take it to that depth, especially when you do know that there are kids in the crowd who are going to hear these chants, who are going to probably pick up those chants. So yeah, I think, the standard asshole ones are fine, and we can just stick to that and not shit cunts or whatever it
What
was.
about
Like,
fuck Don Callis? Are you accepting fuck Don Callis and
oh,
stuff like
fuck
that?
Don
You fucked
Callis is
up.
always going to be there. Yeah, that has
So
to always be there.
fucked is the
But then
level,
again,
everybody.
have you seen his entrant graphic? You just want to punch that face, so you have to shout "fuck Don Callis."
So cunt is that level. Well, bin chicken was also used as well. I don't know, the Australian. Stephanie Vacquer was next. She wants to wrestle everyone, including Rhea. Seth came out. He was happy. Then the kickoff, they cheered him and then called him a wanker. And then Seth's a cunt chant because we all like that. But Seth looked in trouble. He said he landed rough. And I'm sure the crowd did the seagulls. The mine. I don't know what they were on at this point. Seth telling them there's kids in the crowd, so don't call them a cunt, please. They beat the shut the fuck up, but not cunt for some reason. I don't know. Speaking of cunts, Triple H showed up. They said we want Edge chants, and the crowd sang his thing. I mean, Jaxie, you mentioned it. How much of a clue does Triple H need when they're singing like Metalingus to him and chanting
Yeah.
Edge's name,
I mean, at this point, like I feel like it's inevitable because the fans did their job with AJ Styles and John Cena. If we continue to manifest it, we will get it. We will.
Well, Triple H hates Edge. We got 13,683, which was not a huge crowd. And then there was a fuck Saudi chant as they want Mania. And overall, I enjoyed the crowd so much. Thank you, crowd, for that post show. Raw in Perth, Seth started it. Rollins called the crowd wankers. He said he's done everything on his own, which got a bullshit chant from the fans. He claimed he didn't need anyone, but has chosen to align himself with the men in the ring because he is a visionary. Well, what could go wrong? Reed beat Jimmy. Breaker showed up and speared Jimmy twice after the match. Jay ran into the ring to make the save for his brother. But of course, it was the ending, which was the big story. Number one contendership match. Punk beat Knight and Jey Uso. And as Punk was celebrating, Ronda's music hit. He came out. Breaker took out Jay and Knight with spears and ended up taking Seth Rollins out with his spear as well. Heyman was shocked. And he told Reed, "You're either with me or you're not." And Reed hit the champion with a tsunami, with Heyman lifting the arms of Bronson Reed and Bron Breaker. I mean, Monty, I was not expecting this on the Raw after Crown Jewel, but it seemed that the injury Seth suffered was actually serious, you know?
Yep. If it's one underlying thing, I know he is one of the greatest of this era. Like I love saying about the Shield, they've done enough, they've achieved. But if it's one underlying thing that he doesn't really have in common with Moxley or Roman per se, I mean Roman's had time off for different reasons, and of course we know about the illness, but injuries, man. Self has always had the injury thing, and it happens to a lot. I'm not trying to act like he's just injury prone. I heard some people trying to bury it, like, all right, whatever. He's doing something to entertain you, idiot. So it's not like a. I get it. The injury prone thing when they're playing an athletic sport, and it's like, that's just like people say it in American football. They say it in basketball over here. I don't know how prevalent that is in football over there. They talk about people who get injured a lot. But yeah, injury prone, I get it. That is a thing in sport. But in wrestling, I think it's kind of screwed up to kind of focus on that because it's just like he's putting his body he's literally hurting himself for your entertainment all the time. So it's like you don't necessarily have to dwell on it, but it is an unfortunate truth when it comes to Self's career that he's kind of always struggled, or every time he seems like he's finally on top of the world, or he's had a good run, good luck, good storylines going his way. Here we are with this, and I attempt to say this. I'm from Louisiana. They're very superstitious around here. You don't sit in wheelchairs. You don't play around on crutches when you're not hurt because eventually you get hurt. And I'm not trying to say that. I'm not trying to say he brought this on himself by faking the injury earlier, but I do say you're playing. You take the chance with that type of stuff around where I'm from. That's the type of stuff they say you spoke up on yourself or whatever. They say that a lot down here in Louisiana. Very superstitious people. And, voodoo, New Orleans, you get it. Anyway, the point.
I completely agree with you, Monty. I do not want you to curse me or anything like that. It's fine. It's fine.
Exactly. But hold up. But it's like you mentioned though, James. Like I think you may not do it for the same reason, but you talk about this all the time. It's like, oh, let's stretcher this guy for a storyline purpose, and then here we go 2 months later, and they really are unconscious, and you know what I mean. And now it's like, oh Lord, we probably shouldn't have been playing around. And like it's the same thing here. And I'm not trying to blame Self because injuries are unfortunate and it sucks. But I do think this was a smart pivot because injury or no injury to me, they never really seemed like it was going to be a long form type of thing. Like if you thought this was going to be a bloodline 5-year run, you had to be tripping because it was obvious that they kept trying to reinforce. Like even Paul and Self's relationship was kind of weird and shaky. So as a fan, I'm kind of happy because I never really like the initial pivot for Self to get this at Mania. But I didn't really ever like him with Paul or his chemistry. I think even with him cheating without the vision, he showed he don't really need him. Now, do I like the idea of him being a visionary and seeing the future in those kids? Yes. But Bronson was way closer to the right now than he was in like an evolution Randy Orton type of deal or Batista. You know what I mean? Like that was a little bit different. And I think I get what they were trying to do, but to me, this was always probably going to be a more short arrangement, but the injury may have sped it up. But I do think it was very, very impactful the way they did it. Nobody expected it, and I was I was like, all right, because for the first time and for months and for me, something that actually made me kind of interested in Raw because they finally did something different. I've been complaining about the vision segments and the promos. And, okay, we're going to end the show, stand and talk. We'll attack somebody. They ran out of juice real fast to me. So doing this definitely intrigued me for where we were going. But it is unfortunate for Self. I do wish him the best. I don't say any of what I said earlier to be like, oh man, nanny boo boo, you got hurt. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, you know, I can't act like I don't notice that you were faking an injury and then something like this happened. So, very sucky luck, but I thought this was a really cool way to kind of capitalize off the injury.
Yeah, I think you're right. And again, with Seth, the many times he got injured big programs. I mean, Drew doesn't, does he? But I mean, Gina, I don't know about you, but I mean, Monty made a great point. This injury was truly shocking. But Seth has swerved us before, So again, even with the talk of an injury, I'm like, I don't believe it until I see that fucking title vacated. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally get what you mean. To be fair, I actually did say this to Jax. I just said, something's going to happen in one of the more recent shows we have, which we haven't covered yet because we're quite behind. But I said to Jax the other day, I feel like Seth is lying to us and he's about to pop up any minute now. It still feels, I don't believe it because he fooled us once. It's like, fool me once, shame on you, but fool me twice, shame on me, sort of thing. So yeah, I'm still tentative about whether this is a real injury. But again, as Monty said, this was always going to happen. I didn't expect it to happen so soon, but I'm also not mad at it.
Yeah. Elsewhere on Raw, Dom retained his IC title versus Penta. Oscar slapped Kari and told her she was to blame for the loss at Crown Jewel. And to make that worse, Sane had to face Ripley. And Sky threatened Oscar for him interfering now and Ripley to hit the Riptide for the win. Oscar attacked Sky after the match. Ripley took her down and cleared the announce table. Sane saved Oscar from taking the Riptide through the table, and the Empress tomorrow hit a DDT to end the segment. And Jaxie, I think that's what you're like with your sisters, what Oscar's like. Do you know that? I just think you go around slapping them if they don't do what you want to do.
Totally. That is accurate. Yeah. Got me
It is
twisted
true. Every
there.
2 seconds, all I hear is Gina.
I mean, if you think that about me, then you have not met the youngest. But that's all I'll say. Yeah, this was like sort of like overall just I guess a way of it was kind of hard to see like the way that Oscar is treating Kyrie because I love these two and stuff, but that's what it's meant to be doing is drawing on your heartstrings, so to speak. But also I just feel like right now Oscar is just doing her very best, and I think they need to just continue to push that. And it just like that overall, the ending of it still made like all of the women look good. So it kind of like counteracted everything that was going on with Crown Jewel too. I'm just excited to see kind of where things are going to keep going from here because at this point it seems like they all keep one-upping one another.
Yeah, and again, slapping tag team partners seems to be the way because Live had to slap some sense into Bailey as they faced Judgment Day, which is exactly what happened, and they managed to take them out. On to SmackDown, Cody started the show. Well, Aldis did, but he lied, And did he actually say anything worthwhile? I don't know. Corey Graves is back on commentary. The MFTs beat up Ray Phoenix. Flair and Bliss defended the tag titles versus Sol Ruka, with Blake Monroe was watching on. Charlotte made Sol tap out after she got distracted. And you know what? It's happened more times than you think. We got a great Vega and Annie B video. Zayn doesn't care what Aldis thinks either. Sammy had his US Open challenge. I wanted Obafemi. We got Miz until Mello took him out. So it was Ilya Dragunov who answered the call. The Mad Dragon was back, and not a bad reaction. He looked good with a new neck tattoo and a knee brace, but it got better because Vic was perfect on commentary explaining what Ilya is all about. The crowd got behind him. Sammy, to his credit, is always good in the ring. Dragunov caught a boot to the mush as well, but a torpedo Moscow and an H-bomb, and Ilya was your new US champion. Hell yeah. Monty, man, a year out, and they booked him like he should be, This was great stuff. I fucking loved this.
Yeah, man, and I always knew Dragunov was a psychopath with that tattoo. Whoo, don't hammer it home. Like he's always intense, but god damn it, the tattoo and like he's put muscle on, so you can tell Like he knew. Like I don't think it is. I think it's like an unspoken thing. I don't think it's like it used to be. Like I think back in the day, like they used to straight up tell you, "Oh no, Vince will never book you. You short. Put some muscle on, kid." I think he just like I just know. Like no, maybe if I come back a little bit more jacked, maybe Triple H realize that I should be booked like a possible world champion or future world champion. But yeah, man, I think this is really good. This the way. This is what if you're gonna do an open challenge, if you're gonna take the belt off Solo like they did, without really any much of an explanation, I do think this is was the best utilization of Sammy in this role if that's what they were gonna do. Like use it to put over a guy. I wish they could have did this with somebody like Melo? Sure, but Dragunov is like the next big thing if he's back and he's healthy and he's ready to go. And I think also Dragunov, since he's the type of wrestler who can continue it, which I think that's probably what they planning to do is continue these challenges and continue making him a fighting champion. So I think this is cool. I'm optimistic, man. I hope they keep it going and just allow him to build on this, and then one day he'll build himself up high enough and big enough to where they can redo him and Gunther at some point. But I think this is the first step in many steps to getting Dragunov where I think me and you know he has the potential to be. But it was great to see him back though, and it was cool to see him still fighting like a maniac even after tearing his knee up.
No doubt. The MFTs attacked after the Whites made a say, but nothing much came from that. Motor City Machine Guns beat Santos. Beat a Santos Los Garzas. Shady and Sabin have been on SmackDown for a year now, and no one cares. We got a Fraxim sighting, but no sign of Fatu for the main event. He was found with his teeth knocked out his mouth. It makes me think Drew didn't do it, but will still get a beating for it. Or did he? And Gina, I don't know about you, but can Drew McIntyre only beat someone up off screen? Because remember what he did to CM Punk off screen, and he's just done the same thing to Jacob Fatu, you know?
Yeah, definitely. It's going to get to a point where they're going to assign a watcher for Drew. Just keep an eye on him even after the cameras leave his side. You keep an eye on him. So, yeah. But it does seem to be his MO lately, doesn't it?
I don't know what's going on. And it got worse, Gina, because Drew wanted to be number one contender, and he got it. And Cody accepted wearing a suit. Wearing a suit. Rose hit Drew with a title to escape with the championship, and they brawled to end the show, Gina. What is going on with Drew? Are they just doing it to fuck me? Is that what they're doing? In a
Yeah,
suit?
they literally were like, we're going to make it the shittest year ever for him and make it so worse. But that just means he can only go upwards for 2026. You know, you got to have that hope, James.
Or you
Hold
get
on.
released.
Monty, we're just trying to not let James be depressed.
I don't know. WWE did have a tour in Australia, and then they went to Japan where AJ Styles wrestled his last match. Yota Tsuji was in the crowd as well, which, you know, he is WWE bound, I guess.
Recruit him.
We shall see. Raw, Bron Breakker with the world title, and Heyman and Reed made their way to the ring. Adam Pearce was waiting and told us Seth had been stripped of the title. Punk will be fighting for the championship at Saturday night's main event, and there's a battle royal. Pearce had to say please, and Heyman said he did what he did to Roman and Punk because he knew the Bronze were better. He said Seth is a bummed shoulder bitch. I mean, Jaxie, how can Rollins not come back as a face now? You know what I mean? After what Heyman has said with the Bronze there. And he's not finished with Punk yet. That's what fucking... I mean, will they turn Punk to finish that feud? They've only had one match.
You know what? I think he'll come back as an honorary, temporary face. Take out the vision and what he needs done. And then we'll slowly but surely turn his eyes back to Punk and be like, remember me, bitch? You know, it's going to be like one of those like really long, drawn out ones. But I think, you know, with the injury like taking place, this was the only angle that really kind of made sense, you know?
Yeah.
I thought you said he was going to be an honorary oops.
Bronze suited the world top, not going to lie. But it's weird how history has repeated itself because both times Seth has cashed in Money in the Bank, he has had to vacate that championship. Yeah, that's right. I'm full of it today. As for the main event, it was a battle royal which didn't feature the bronze as Heyman didn't say please to Pierce. Jimmy Uso repeatedly saved his brother, helping Jay stave off elimination. And when the time came for Jay to make his move, he tossed Jimmy like it was nothing to the floor and LA Knight and sent Dom packing to earn a win and a match against Punk that he'd already seen on Raw. And again, Monty, I love Jey Uso, but I don't think this booking is helping Jey Uso right now. Do you know what I mean? It just,
I
I
think
was just like,
everything negative about Jay has been because of booking. Like I know, like he's been overexposed to death. Like people who call him just an entrance. The only reason why I can understand it is because they turned him into mostly an entrance because they do it. They did it every week. They do it the same way. Like, and then like again, even in this situation, like I'm not saying don't make him win it because I understand it, but he didn't need to win. Like you could, especially because we probably feel like what the end result could have been. So this is your chance, in my opinion, to give a fresh opponent or a newer guy a world championship match, and maybe they could give people a little bit more to hope. Because I think Jay is, even though I think of Jay as a main event guy, and I do understand why you would put him here, I think we all probably can see the writing on the wall when it comes to him versus Punk. And even if they didn't, I just think that yeah, I'm with you. I think overall, everything negative that you see online about Jay, a lot of the stuff I think is BS. But I think all of it stems from the way that they presented Jay and the way they kind of overexposed him. But Jay, you've been a part of this, you know, just like I know. How many baby faces get over organically or way bigger than they ever thought, sell a lot of merch, and then WWE does what they do best, and they overexpose them, expose the weaknesses of them, don't protect them well enough, and or overprotect them to the point to where they get the John Cena reaction. Like WWE does this with babyface. They're not really good. They are always better. They're only good with a couple of like types of babyface. You either got to be a badass or you got to be like Superman. Every other babyface,
just bland.
yeah, they usually bland. They run out of exactly. They run out of it. They get old quick. They ruin the catchphrase. Whatever it is, this is what WWE tends to do. They're always better with heels and Superman babyface. That's just kind of how they do it. And I also wanted to ask this: which one of the twins is it? The little sister? Is it either you? Which one of y'all turning on y'all sibling like that? Because I thought that was funny. I was like, see, Jay, I like it. Man, he helped you the whole time. And as soon as it's your turn, you win because, you know, who cares, man? We got to win. Every man for himself. I'm sorry.
I think, you know, there's four of us siblings all together. And if I were to have to choose anyone, I'm sorry, I'm saying it's the little sis. The little sis would have no problem doing that. I mean, Purple, am I wrong? Gina, am I wrong or what?
That didn't sound like Gina considering herself.
You know what?
No,
I would agree because the little one is quite evil, but I also remember that you chose Yasmin in year 6 to go to cooking class over choosing me.
Oh, we all remember that.
Oh my
How can we
probably
forget?
How can we forget
I'm not
betrayal?
going through this
you would
again.
probably
Look
chuck
on
me
poor
over that
Gina's
top rope
face.
too, sis. You know,
I'm not
Oh,
going
yeah.
through this again.
people don't forget.
I'm
Yeah.
exhausted by this, by having to defend myself and from year 6. I'm done.
Oh, God. Well, for Gina, it
The
wasn't that
Gator
long ago,
Olympics,
you
baby,
know?
gold medal.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. Elsewhere, AJ Lee won the tag titles. I know, it's hilarious. They beat the Judgment Day, who had only one defense in 100+ days. And Gina, AJ Lee, I hope they're together because of reason and not just because it is AJ Lee. Please don't say to put the titles on them.
Wait, who are you talking about now? Because I thought you just said Judgment Day, but then you're saying AJA.
AJ Lee beat Judgment Day. Like I said, Judgment
Yeah.
Day. He only had the one defense in 100+ days, and now
Yeah.
it is AJ Lee as tag champions.
Yep, for sure. I mean, again, it's just what's bad is that it's not that Judgment Day haven't been showcased on regular TV. They have, and the fact that it's 100 days of a defense until a defense, and then they just lose it like that. It's just okay. Well, AJ Lee's better than you anyway.
We got Dom beating Rusev in another fun match to retain his title. We did it all himself. And then Women's Intercontinental title was on the line when Becky Lynch took on Maxine Dupree. Bex got self DQ'd when she attacked her with the title. She also called Heyman Penguin as well. We should say, I mean, Jaxie, talk about those two title matches. Maxine Dupree was so impressive, and I've talked a lot of shit about her. And again, the Dirty Dom with the Eddie Guerrero. I don't want to call it a tribute, but a kind of homage.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta admit, Maxine's impressed me thoroughly over the past couple of weeks, and really just utilized her time really well. So I'm kind of just intrigued to see more from her. In that sense, it seems to me like she's working incredibly hard, and like is paying off. It's showing in the ring. So, it would be good to kind of like see more progression in that sense. But we'll see.
Nikki Bella saved Stephanie Vaquer after championing down Perez. The ending was a mess. On to SmackDown. Rose tried to goad McIntyre into a fight before he could get into the ring. Jimmy showed up and attacked him, accusing him of attacking Fatu. This led to the main event. McIntyre versus the only member of the Bloodline he's allowed to beat in Jimmy Uso. Cody tried to make it about him and got Claymored for his trouble. Monty, why is it Jimmy's the only person from the Bloodline allowed to lose to McIntyre? Is it in the contract somewhere or something? I'm not sure.
Yes, I think it is in the contract. I think Drew McIntyre has officially become a jobber, but like I wouldn't say job. Maybe job is a little harsh. But is it really that harsh? Because he never wins any other feud. You know what I mean? At least he's on TV. He give you a good match. But yeah, I mean, and then again, James, I understand. I get it. I really do. I know he's your favorite, but sometimes, man, sometimes when your favorite wrestler is a jobber, you just gotta kind of you gotta take the lumps, but then be like, you know what, he's booked. You know what, he's employed. You know what I heard he's doing acting. He got acting roles. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe they heard they knew Drew was gonna go into Hollywood, and they're like, we're gonna humble this guy and book him terribly, like we always have.
I mean, to be fair, I even the Baron Corbin feud, I was like, at least he's at WrestleMania. Do you know what I mean? Which is not a good
I think
place
you're
to be.
aiming too high. You're like Drew, world champion, top of the company. But if you just be like, if you just lower them expectations to stay employed, hey, get booked. He's doing good. He's booked.
We got MFTs defeating Phoenix and Nakamura. Tiffany Stratton beat Kiana James. Julia attacked the champion, but Jay Cargill came out to make the save. As we were celebrating, Cargill ended up attacking Stratton and turning heel for the first time in the WWE run. It took several security guards to stop Jade, but the damage was done. And Gina, this was just like, finally, with Jade, finally, we're going to see the proper Cargill.
Yes, yes, Jade. Yes, girl. Like this should have happened when they originally had their match. That's all I'm gonna say. This should have been what happened straight away, and Jade should have already been on a tearing streak half of the year by now. But either way, all I'm gonna say is this is what I've been waiting for. Jade is gonna show everyone why she should have been feared when she first joined. So yeah, I look forward to just seeing her reign. She's a baddie. I love her.
Yeah. Really, really good stuff. Ilya continued the US Open Challenge, answered by Ali B. Priest caused distraction and then attacked Alistair afterwards. On to Raw. Punk and Jey Uso had a chat. Rusev and Penta fought to a double disqualification thanks to the Americanos. Roxanne beat Nikki Bella. After the match, Vaquer made the save, preventing a 2-on-1 beatdown. LA Knight lost to Bron Breakker again. And JD stepped up to Sheamus and got the biggest win of his career thanks to Balor. The main event was a tag team titles of Bliss and Charlotte versus Lyra and Bayley. Flair applied the figure 8, but Lyra prevented Bayley from tapping out, only to fall victim to the twisted Bliss, with the Queen added natural selection to pick up the win. Afterwards, the Kabuki Warriors attacked the champions and the challengers, leaving them lying on the ground. Jaxie, I mean, I want to mention JD McDonough first because, again, Jordan Devlin NXT's waited a long time. I thought he stepped up to Sheamus and looked really, really good. But obviously, the main event tag match as well was really great stuff from the women.
Agreed on everything you've just said. I thought that this was some of the best stuff that JD has been able to work with and just really showcased what he can do. Like I think a lot of people probably forget that, considering the fact that he had to go off with such a gruesome injury for such a long time. But it was really refreshing to watch. And even though he picked up this win, through sort of the aid of Finn Balor, I still think this match went super hard, and I was really pleased for him to like be able to like have that moment. Same with the tag match. It was enjoyable. It was fun. It got even more interesting when the Kabuki Warriors got involved at the end there, and it just like enters them back into the tag team division sort of picture and what they could possibly do, and kind of picking up from what I said earlier about sort of the amount of love that both Rhea and Io get. I could see them hitting the tag division, and what better way to actually make them champions than to overall overcome the Kabuki Warriors. So why not start getting the Kabuki Warriors involved in the tag division now, build up this potential tag uh duo of Rhea and Io, and then maybe even like build towards that. So I'm intrigued to see where the women's tag division is going. Things are spicing up, and it feels like there's like a real division being like showcased here, like that could all be sort of viable to take the belts.
Yeah, without a doubt. On SmackDown, Tiffany Stratton started the show. Cargill wanted the title, and Tiff was stopped by security. We got an epic Ilya training video. I worry about trying to try that because I think I'd break my neck, but maybe one day. He had another US Open challenge, which Nathan Fraser answered the call, but so did Ciampa, but Ilya picked Nathan. Fraser's chest was beat red, literally. This was nothing personal from the US champion, and this was excellent. I mean, Monty, I don't want to say NXT UK lives, but it does a little bit. It does a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does a little bit. You sure? You sure it ain't personal? Because he always beat the hell out of Nathan Fraser.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what Nathan did to him backstage at a NXT UK show or something, but even in NXT in the other match, he tried to kill him in the ring apparently. So if you not literally, of course, but just every time, the thing I love about Ilya Dragunov is that legally through the confines of pro wrestling, he tries to kill people, and like that's just he can't. Sometimes he tries to hell. His finishing move is literally a diving head, but he tries to kill himself. People, he's not right. Like I love that's what I love about him. Somehow in modern day wrestling, we got another wrestler who wrestles like he's not right in the head, and we supposed to like this guy. I mean, again, he is a babyface, but like if it's anybody who's a babyface who I think could be a heel easily, and he don't even gotta say a word. He can just go too far one day. It's Dragunov because that's how he fights. But I love it. He beat the hell out of Frazier here. I love that online that somebody I think they were like Axiom, you're next, and Axiom is like terrified. It's like like no, I don't want that. I'm not trying to fight him. So anyway, yeah, this was great. So Dragunov is cool. I think honestly, just give us 15 to 20 minutes of TV matches for now. Let them pick up W's, pick up performances like this, and everybody will have that same appreciation that I know me and you have for him. But I think it's genius to book Frazier. Hell, I know the other guy from Pretty Deadly is hurt, but get the other Pretty Deadly boy. Get any of the NXT UK guys, anybody he has experience with in the past. Hell, call Trick Williams up for a one-off, or let him debut that way by trying to survive Dragunov again. I know that'll be crazy, but anybody, Dragunov is great, and I think this is going to be great for him. And I think the thing I like about it is Dragunov is so good that you don't have to do much. If WWE smart, they just keep showcasing them like this because I think you get to know him better with allowing him just to go and do his thing, and of course showing him work out like a maniac. That's another element of him. So again, I'm loving what they're doing with him so far.
Yeah, without a doubt. Speaking, you mentioned Pretty Deadly. Kit Wilson, yes, boy, faced Carmella Hayes. No idea who the heel and face was here. Elton Prince is injured, and Moose can help kit win, but did attack Mello afterwards, ain't that the way. Bliss beat Nia Jax, MFTs beat Motor City Machine Guns, and Drew and Cody signed the contract for Saturday night's main event. If Cody gets DQ'd or counted out, he loses the title. Drew says he was the blueprint for Cody, and he was. He Claymore Cody and put him through a table to end things, signifying he had no chance at Saturday night's main event. But I mean, Gina, could the contract now count out disqualification? Surely this helps Drew, doesn't it?
Yeah, it should really act as an advantage for Drew in this match, and take more advantage of that in order to win and get the belt. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, let's find out. Let's find out together, shall we? Saturday night's main event, November 1st, the WWE Championship match, Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre. And at one point, Drew nearly got Rhodes to utilise the title as a weapon. And when he didn't, McIntyre capitalised on the momentary distraction by catching him with a Claymore kick, but only for 2. McIntyre launched Rhodes through the announce table and nearly won the title via count out. But following a ref bump, Rhodes utilised the title belt that McIntyre introduced to the square circle, delivering a DDT on it, following a crossroads for the victory. Jaxie, what was this? What the fuck was this? Is there going to be another rematch now? Well, it's not helping Drew. This is not helping.
Like, if you want the honest truth, like, Drew just needs to give up. Like, there's no easy way to say it, but I have to agree with Monty's earlier statement. Like, you have to accept that Drew is a jobber.
What did you think of the match? Was it an upgrade from their Wrestle Blues match?
Helping me to try and make James feel better. Jesus.
The match was okay. Yeah.
All right, fine. We'll move on. We're moving on.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when it started the show...
I hope that Drew moves on. Maybe approaches someone else. Maybe he should revisit his feud with Punk or something, although that didn't go well for him either. So
he lost that one too.
Oh, God. I'm going to move on.
Maybe why don't he go and start a really good feud with Ilya Dragunov,
Well, lose that one. Yeah, right, yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
I was trying to make you feel better. There's no way to do that, sorry.
There's one thing I did notice, there wasn't many ads now because I guess it's on Peacock, but I'm not really sure. We've got the WWE Women's Championship match, Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill, and Jade tosses champion around the square circle. When Stratton set up for the prettiest moonsault ever, she wipes her leg out from under her, target the injured joint. Cargill attempted to injure her with the steel steps, but Stratton moved out of the way and back inside to deliver a swanton bomb for a near fall. The challenger recovered, overwhelmed the champion, and delivered Jaded. And your new WWE Women's Champion is Jade Cargill. Monty, as we've mentioned, finally Jade's top of the mountain.
Man, it took them a while, to realize that you just need to book her. You know what? Part of me think they wasted our time. Remember we talk about all the time on NXT, James, just like how they seem to be doing weird stuff with Ricky and other people straight from AEW just to change, or like even for Impact, they're burying Hendry and stuff, and then they can rebrand it. And I feel like now, like the fact that they had Jade not doing this and being as dominant as she was here, or leaning into who she was in AEW, which was a lot of her strong suits on display, to me is just like, we want to make this WWE's Jade, not what you are used to from if you caught her in AEW. And but it just, in my opinion, it was really weird because this is her at her best. Let her dominate. Let her be like she dwarfs basically everybody. She looks like a goddess. You know what I mean? She shouldn't just be having regular matches, regular promos. Nothing about her should be normal. She should just be exactly who she is. Obviously a star, and she looks great with that belt. Tiffany did a good job running with the championship for as long as she did. She improved as she went on. They gave her as good a run as you can have, but she need either a new roster, fresh opponent. Maybe she even need a character switch up. But in my opinion, it was definitely time for a new thing. And I just hope that WWE realized what Jade does best and just continue leaning. I want her to just start smashing and throwing any other women they throw in front of her around for a while, maybe until returning Bianca or someone else comes in that could be an interesting. I mean, Charlotte is obviously there too, but even a dominant. Imagine what I hate saying his name.
Like, I think with Rhea Ripley would be awesome.
Rhea Ripley, yeah. But imagine what a dominant Brock, like I hate to say his name, especially in a women's conversation, but imagine what a John Cena.
Oh, no.
But anyway, imagine what a John Cena SummerSlam Brock Lesnar match, dominant victory over a Charlotte or even over a Rhea would do for someone like Jay. It would like she could go on a tear if they decide to go that route with her. And I think she has the potential, and she exudes confidence. She's better in this role, and I can't wait till they allow her to just continue to be herself. And I commend Tiffany because I do think she did really good. It's an iconic first reign for her. But I think, like we mentioned, she either needed a draft to freshen up her opponents, or she needed to do something completely different to add some life to this run. And now it's time for Jade to run with it and get her time on top. And I think if they decide to just lean into her strength, but also make give her fresh opponents, give her different people to work with going forward, this could be a fun run for Jade. So hopefully they don't book it too similar to how they did Tiffany, and she just end up working the same three people for the next year or whatever.
Yeah. But again, Tiffany has lost the last two, and it will be really interesting to see what Stratton does next. Again, she might become incredibly successful and carry on with multiple reigns, so this might be her only one, So again, it'll be interesting to see what happens with that character. Intercontinental Championship match, Penta versus Rusev versus Dominic Mysterio. Rusev dominated with his strength, and Fury unloaded on Mysterio and applying the accolade. Penta made a save, only to experience a wrath of the Bulgarian Brute, who caught his opponent mid-flight with a shot to the face and a big kick for two. Rusev caught Penta with a match kick, applied the accolade when the bell rang. He thought he had won, only for it to be revealed that Mysterio rang the bell. Mysterio brought the bell hammer into the match where Penta attempted to use it against him, but struck Rusev. The champion sent him into the post and the fog splash to Rusev and scored the win. Now, there's a couple of funny things here. First off, the rumor about Rusev not jobbing, and he's lost his last couple now as well. Also, I think Dom's been watching House of Torture, because as soon as that ring bell went, I was like, that is the oldest House of Torture trick in the book. But the main thing, Rusev making that kid scream, it's got to be one of the funniest clips of all time.
Oh my gosh, I've watched that clip so many times. It's hilarious. It's so funny. I literally, even now, it just makes me want to sit here and laugh just thinking about it. But no, honestly, that was probably the best thing to come out of this match.
Yeah, apart from the kid screaming, it wasn't a bad match, but again, it just felt we'd seen it before. Do you know what I mean? Like there was nothing really different here.
Don't get me wrong. I will admit that I think that Dominic made this match for me by pulling that House of Torture move with the bell. It was so fucking funny. Just watching him just banging on the bell. I was laughing at that as well. But the kid scream was the highlight.
Oh no, it was brilliant. Yeah, and then we got the announcement that 60-man tournament will commence. Even the field will be chosen at random. Yeah, right. Field will competitors for Raw, SmackDown, NXT, maybe even some faces that don't even work in WWE. Sheamus, Knight, Mello, Dom, Gunther were featured. It's going to be Gunther. Get over it, everybody. It's not Edge. World Heavyweight Championship match: CM Punk versus Jey Uso. Punk dominated the action early, out-wrestled his opponent, and even rocking him with a go-to-sleep that leveled the former champion and sent him to Arena 4. The Chicago native woke him up with a bottle of water and rolled him back in the ring, but Uso fought his way back in the match. Uso rocked Punk with a super kick, delivered a spear, and now did the Uso splash for a dramatic near fall. As the action continued and intensified, Uso launched himself to Punk on the floor, delivering a spear through the timekeeper's position. Back in the ring, Punk recovered, delivered a go-to-sleep, but Uso kicked out. Moments later, after signature moves and everything else that went on, Punk finally delivered a go-to-sleep and became your new world champion. And again, Punk looks up the apron, looks up the ring aisle, just make sure Seth Rollins wasn't going to come down and steal that championship. But no, Jaxie, it was Punk's time. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, like this was a good match between them. But like, yeah, it was kind of really hard because I feel like there's been like a division, a torn division on whether or not like putting the belt on Jay would have been a good idea or not, so I feel like it was really 50-50. I think overall the match went well. There was like a few near falls that I feel like it didn't need to they kicked out of like sort of like their sort of moves, like
Jay kicking out the go to sleep, I was a little bit like, okay. I thought that was maybe a protective move too, but maybe I'm wrong. That sort of thing. But I think overall at this point, it was probably just best to put the belt on Punk. I think with Seth out of the picture, it kind of thwarted like sort of like future creative decisions. But like, it's about time like sort of new challengers were sort of pitted in this sort of uh uh sort title picture. And I think with everything that Jay's got going on right now, he doesn't really need the belt to kind of continue on with a lot of the storyline that he's going on, because he's very much like back and forth with his family at the moment. And, you know, like I don't really feel like a title needed to be brought into that storyline, you know? So it kind of just made sense for it to go to Punk.
And it's weird to think, and I thought this as well, if Seth had just cost CM Punk at SummerSlam against Gunther rather than cashing in, none of this would have changed. Nothing. Apart from Gunther would be champion now. We've still got the WrestlePalooza mixed tag match, and Seth might not got injured at Crown Jewel because Gunther would have had the match with Cody. But then again, that's why Gunther was champion, I suppose. Wishful thinking. On to Raw, CM Punk thanked everyone. He said there's no snake like Rollins anymore. He mentioned loads of names as people's to face. And then fucking Logan Paul was the one to come out, wasn't he? The Vision arrived and proclaimed Heyman brought everyone else 2 weeks and he's coming for the World Heavyweight Championship. Paul teased walking out on Punk but returned only to endure a beatdown at the hands of the Vision. Punk cleared the ring of the villains to wrap up the 26-minute long promo segment, and it got worse because in the main event it was the Vision versus Jey Uso and Punk, which ended in a double count out, and it was Logan Paul coming to the ring and knocking Punk out with the brass knuckles, standing with the Vision. I mean, Monty, man, just like fuck Logan Paul. I was thinking the other day, like, we haven't seen Logan Paul in a while. I'm quite enjoying it, and now he's involved in it. Please tell me he's not part of the Vision, for fuck's sake. Please tell me that.
I can't tell you that.
Oh no!
I can't tell you that because you never know. I hope not. I really hope not. I think it'll be stupid though. I think Braun had did such a good job of taking the lead. I mean, maybe you could put him in there if he says he's gonna follow Braun. You know, maybe that makes sense. Or follow the Bruns in general. He's just gonna be like the annoying tag along. You know, okay, sure, maybe you do that. He won't even be there all the time then. But if they're hoping to replace Seth with Logan, that would be a big no-no in my opinion. You immediately lose how serious, in my opinion, we should take the Bruns if you're following Logan Paul. It's one thing to follow Seth, but if having to follow him when we know both of you guys could break him like a twig, like come on now, that's stupid. But I wouldn't count it out. I think obviously they're gonna team up. Maybe it's setting up. It's November, so maybe this is a war game setup of some sort or something. I hope. I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised if that maybe where we're leading. Uh,
Definitely.
yeah, but you know, at the end of the day, this was like you said, just back to that same old, just weird Raw booking. Like they did something really exciting with Braun turning on Raw, and then here we go after Saturday Night Main Event, and they go back to the same formulaic, just like because I think the problem I had with it is that even though it was, at first maybe if you weren't paying attention, it was jarring to see Logan Paul fighting the Vision. But I think at the end of the show, when the way they were setting things up, you had to be out of your damn mind if you didn't think Logan was gonna just turn right because we know he's not gonna be a babyface.
Yeah.
We're not
Yeah.
buying it. So come on
And
now.
who
So
cared? Do you know what I mean? Like, who was
exactly, who
going,
would have cared?
yay, Logan? Like, fuck
Right,
him.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. Who really was convinced that Logan is somebody to be sympathetic for, a good guy? So
Oh,
I don't want a Punk one-on-one match with them, so I'm thinking this is just I hope they don't want it. We don't know what they want, but I hope that's not the goal is to give him another world title shot because I think he ruined Jey Uso's reign with a title shot that I didn't need to see. So hopefully this is just setting him up to jump off the cage in the War Games match.
yeah, and missing everybody. Perez and Rodriguez defeated Stephanie and Bella, with Rox beating Nikki. Penta defeated Americano. We got a Dom promo with the return of Ray from injury. And I think, Gina, the best part of this was Dom saying that Eddie, don't talk about my father like that when you talk about Eddie Guerrero, because we all know he is. You know, he's his love child. Vicky's going to admit it one day.
Yeah, I mean, we all know that the storyline told way back when on who is Dom's papi. They told us what we wanted to hear. They didn't tell us the truth. We know that. No, that was great though. I love the fact that they're still dragging that storyline on, what, 20 years later or something.
Yeah. Well, it's like the Ray and Dom feud, isn't it? That's continue. That just never-ending feud, it seems. So, again, the mention of Eddie Guerrero
I
was
don't think
great.
it should ever end, to be honest. I don't think Dom should ever change character. I think he's a little bit like MJF, where their characters don't really need change. They're perfect as they are, you know?
Either that or have like the Cody Rhodes story, you know, when everybody's in the ring celebrating with Dom as like a massive good guy, and Ray comes out and he's like, "No, not you." Do you know what I mean? It's just like everybody but
Yeah,
you.
that would be awesome.
Anyway, Becky Lynch jumped in the announce table and cut a scathing promo, which was this is Becky Lynch at her best, even though she's kind of again being caught out with the Seth Rollins situation. She sent a warning to Maxine Dupree. The Kabuki defeated Bailey and Lia Valkyria, and Styles and Lee defeated the Judgment Day to retain the titles. On to SmackDown, Cody started the show. Get Drew's name out of your fucking mouth. Aleister Black wanted a match, and he got it in the main event. McIntyre came out of nowhere and hit the referee with a claymore. Rose pounced at him, and then Black started helping McIntyre. Priest ran in and started fighting Drew and Aleister, and the show ended with Nick Aldis suspending McIntyre. What? Jaxie, how could he just do McIntyre? What did Drew do wrong? He accidentally claymored the referee. He didn't mean to.
Don't forget the three teeth he hit out of Fatu's mouth.
Apparently, we don't know if he did that attack either, Gina. Thank you very much.
Listen. The way he took that ref out, that shit was personal.
Well, the referee did
Nah,
fuck
if
him.
I was
He did fuck him.
that
Come
ref,
on.
I'd be asking for a match. Nick Aldis, come through. I want a match 1-on-1. Like that was a dirty claymore to the ref. You got to admit.
Yeah. Anyway, elsewhere, Ilya continued his fine form, retaining the US title versus Johnny Gargano. Both showed what they could do in NXT. Jay Cargill says she is that bitch. Lash Legend moved up to the main roster to help Nia Jax beat Charlotte. Lash and Nia feuded in NXT early in the year, and he actually mentioned it, Monty, as a reason they became friends. What do you know? Watching the product actually helps.
Wow, can you believe it? That confusing, no, weird feud led to something. Can you believe? Like you said, slaving away watching these shows every week, man. You finally get a gain something for something you didn't think would mean anything. No, I thought this was nice. I mean, I wasn't. I'm not gonna act like I wasn't a little bit shocked, but I'm happy because I was wondering why they just seem to be dropping. They keep stopping and starting with Lash and NXT. So they weren't going to actually give her an actual run towards a real like title run down there. It makes sense in my opinion to go ahead and call her up. I don't mind Nia necessarily being the one that she's paired with. I think they can be an interesting like just like tandem. Honestly, they really if they're going to book this the right way, they Oscar and well I said Oscar, but Charlotte and Alexa are building a nice little. They're building a decent little division around them. I know Lyra and Bailey is kind of a weird team, but you got that. You got Judgment Day. You still got Kyrie and Oscar, of course, and then now you have these two, which, in my opinion, could see them being a nice little dominant tag team champions if they were to go that far together. And I also can see them breaking up and feuding again. So I don't, at the end of the day, it don't have to be long winded, but yeah. So I don't know. I don't mind it. I'm happy for Lash because I think the potential is there. And also, I hope you understand, James. Unless they do a draft, this probably means we're gonna get Melo and Trick at some point because I know Trick just gonna get drafted there because the relation. We know how this works. Couples go together, guys. So yeah, we'll see. But that's down the road. I'm happy for Lash right now, and hopefully this means that hopefully she gets booked well and it won't just be more weird stop and start bookings for her because I mean this isn't really her debut. It's like a re-debut, but I think she's up there for good now, and I'm proud of her.
Without doubt. And speaking of couples, Matt Cardona better watch his back because Chelsea Green is not only the AAA mixed tag team champions with him, but is now both singles champions as Green beat Julia for the US title in an offensively quick match. I mean, the match was like, Gina, I don't know about you, like a Divas match back in the day. But again, the chemistry Ethan Page and Chelsea Green just had there. If I'm Matt Cardona, I'm going, yeah, she's going to leave me. She's going to leave me.
Yeah, I mean, just to quickly touch on the match, like, oh my God, they've just done Julia dirty, haven't they? They ruined it when they kind of gave her the belt and then did nothing with it because they were too busy focused on Becky and her belt, and they obviously can't juggle both on two different rosters at the same time. But then they pair her with Kiana James, which they have no chemistry together, so it doesn't even help Julia's defense. And then yeah, she just goes straight into this match and gets squashed by Chelsea. Don't get me wrong, absolutely love Chelsea. I loved what she did with the belt when she first won it. I love the chemistry she's got going with Ethan Page. This is some really great work she's got going, and it's keeping the crowd behind her, which keeps them showing her each week. But my God, if I was Matt Cardona, I would kind of be welcoming Chelsea home with full cooked meals and her coffee in the morning. Like, babe, can I get you anything? Foot rub. Like, I will be doing everything because yeah, her and Ethan Page have some chemistry that I can feel on cam, So yeah, it's definitely good. I'm happy for Chelsea. I'm upset for Julia, but I really hope that Julia gets a revamp at some point and she just comes back and smashes it without Kiana.
Yeah, right. And I will mention, I mean, we said, a squash match. The match was quick, but Chelsea didn't get any offense in. It was only the pin was the only move she hit in that matchup. That's how short that match was. that, that- that's how bad it was.
Yeah. I mean, again, that just kind of takes you to the shock factor of the win.
It's just kind of insulting, I think. Like, they really didn't do anything to push Julia, and yeah, pairing her with Kiana was like an awful move, to be honest. I don't know. I can't really say that it was anything that Julia could have done more or better because I don't feel like she was given the opportunity and like kind of, they already showed the doubt by pairing her with someone like Kiana James and thinking it was working. So yeah, I feel like sadly she was kind of doomed with this. And as much as I, disagree with what the way that Chelsea lost the belt in the first place because I thought she was doing excellent work with the belt at the time. Like during that time of her losing it, like it's lost its prestige. It probably will pick back up with Chelsea taking the belt, but it's just sad with when you look at kind of the run in between, and like the champions that had it after Chelsea, it's just not really hit. It's not picked up.
Yeah, I completely agree.
I do also want to add in that it's kind of difficult because Julia came up with Stephanie and Stephanie just skyrocketed with that popularity. And I'm not saying that Julia didn't because Julia had so much hype, especially I can't remember what pay-per-view event it was, but she was sat in the crowd and even she was shocked when the camera panned to her and the whole stadium screamed for her. I just think that because of she came up with Stephanie and Stephanie was so over, they kind of forgot to give Julia a storyline.
Well, and the funny thing is as well, Gina, when you talk about that happened in NXT in a weird way, where the connection with the crowd was so there that it was just like you said, it's a different level. And Julia has time to catch up, and I'm sure she will. And I'm sure by the time SmackDown comes around, she'll probably win it in a rematch anyway. So who knows when it comes to WWE. And then finally on SmackDown, Talatonga beat Ray Phoenix. So that was it. And we're finally caught up, everybody. See, we done it in just over 2 hours. Brilliantly done. So Jaxie, I'll ask you, what are your thoughts on WWE, this kind of, this update that we've just had on them?
Like I feel there's ups and downs. I feel like there's like certain areas that are like picking up, like we've talked really positively about what's to come for the women's tag division and how like it's being showcased a lot more and, building some prestige behind the belts themselves. But there's also just like questionable bookings still continuously going on. And I don't know whether or not that will really sort itself out once a majority of like the sort of main roster that are either filming or out for injury, return or what. But yeah, there's ups and downs at the moment. But I do have great anticipation going into some of the storylines. So is stuff that's still keeping me interested, is interesting content. The last thing I just want to add is AJ Lee, please don't like not say goodbye. Please like feature us, like feature one more match or something, please. Like, where are you? We miss you.
Oh, she's on a book tour at the moment. I don't think it was. I
Yeah,
think it was originally planned. So hopefully it's
yeah.
not just stopped her
I,
booking. So
I do hope that we do at least
yeah,
get to see her potentially in one more, like if not run, as in like lengthy run, at least one more match, even if it's a mixed tag match. I don't care. It would just be nice to see her one more time.
yeah, without a doubt. And like I said, interesting times. Our next WWE show will be Survivor Series, but of course to build up for John Cena's last match and who will be in the tournament as well. And then of course it's the road to WrestleMania. So there you go. That is it for today. Don't forget across all social media, X at the WNR Podcast. I'm at the WNR Pod James. You can find the entire WNR team on the banner. Jaxie, where can people find and follow you?
Yeah, I'm on Twitch, X, and Instagram at Jaxie Scarlett.
Perfect. Monty?
That's House of Torture, New Japan.
Gina?
Just like that. You can find me on Twitch, X, Instagram, and YouTube at Purple Pain.
Double North on Facebook and Instagram. Send us an email to Podcast at gmail.com and YouTube where the Double Podcast to celebrate 10 years of the WNR with shorts, universe mode, and clips from any event we go to. All the podcasts that we do are live on YouTube, also on SoundCloud on your phone, also Spotify and iTunes, where you can download, subscribe, rate, and review there. So that is it. Our next episode is the NXT update, which will be Halloween Havoc. In 2 weeks is our New Japan catch up as well. So we have got a good couple of weeks ahead of us. Till then, I've been James Bones and was joined by the fantastic Jaxie Scarlett. Thanks for joining me as always, Jaxie.
It's been fun, and I look forward to the New Japan catch up next.
And of course, the mind of Monty with a WWE pay-per-view win. I will say congratulations, even if I don't mean it.
Yeah, you got a Drew McIntyre record when it comes to predictions right now, James. Meaning you suck. And I
yeah,
win.
no, I got that. Yeah. Yeah, I got that. You really have joined the House of Torture. And of course, the genius of Gina. Gina, please, I say this probably every time we do a show. Just as long as you beat Jaxie, that's all I care about.
No problem. You just beat Monty, okay?
Yeah, yeah, easy.
Good luck.
Easy. Bring
I'm
it,
trying to give him
monster.
hope, guys. You guys
Yeah,
keep
come on.
shitting on him. Let me give him hope.
Yeah. Some people will pay for that, though. Anyway, that's the time. We've got to go. Thanks for listening, everybody, and bye.